Just an Average Fantasy Football Podcast.
Well, welcome in to the 2025 season of Just an Average Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm your host, Daniel Hayes, with Matt Baker.
That's me.
You can find us at avgffpod.com. Go there, click the buttons, go to the places, give us the likes and the follows and the subscribes. And we're going to kick off with a beer of the week. There's not a lot of information on it. It just says Dive Beer with the E falling off, the second E falling off of the beer. It is from Sweetwater Brewing. I'm taking it to be just like a regular light, chilling with the homies beer. It's only 4% alcohol, so let's give it a...
It's nothing special. Nothing. It's not bad.
Yeah, it's just a lager. It's a Miller Lite. It's got a little bit more flavor than just your average light lager, but it's not bad. It's a beer that you drink when you're mowing grass.
Definitely. Definitely.
Something like that.
I don't know how much it costs, but
I don't know. It probably costs more. I mean, I would rather get the natties than this.
That's what I was saying.
They're a lot cheaper.
If it comes to paying, couple dollars extra to get this over, your run of the mill.
Yeah. That's the problem when these breweries like Sweetwater or whatever, who have these kind of specialty beers, try to dabble into the, tailgate party,
the mass market, essentially.
Yes, standing around the bonfire beer, they're always overpriced because they can't produce it as cheap as the bigger guys do.
They can't release it that cheap.
But it's not a bad beer. I mean, it's got a little, like I said, it's got a little bit more something to it than your average lager. With those mass-produced lagers,
a little more depth.
Yeah, maybe it's because maybe this is not a rice beer because all those beers are made with rice instead of hops.
Yeah.
Maybe this is actually made with some sort of hops, but
it's not bad. I mean, I wouldn't turn it down if they were handing it out at a party or something. Yeah, I could definitely get down with that.
All right, well, there it is. There's our first beer of the week. Hopefully, we'll have many more throughout the season. We're going to kick off with like we do pretty much every year. We're going to kick off with a free agent episode. I'm not going to really. There's been a ton of free agents. We're not going to really break down the contracts of each one. Look, they're all making good money. Some of them are making more money. But I guess we'll kick it off with the news that came across the wire right before we went on air.
Like literally just before we hit the button.
Yeah, so the Giants finally got their quarterback for at least next season. Maybe. It's they got Russell Wilson. They signed him to a 1-year deal. They also picked, we might as well just go ahead and go into them. They also picked up Jameis Winston earlier. So it's going to be an interesting quarterback room. You have two very weird and odd individuals at quarterback. One of them is kind of a dweeb. They're
both dweebs. Yeah, dweeb defines both of them pretty well as far
aside from the fact that he's a sexual predator. Jameis is also just a fucking doofus.
He's definitely a dweeb.
I don't know. Dweeb to me is more like the guy with the tucked in. Well, I don't want to, you tuck your shirt in, but at the guy at the barbecue with his socks up high, wearing his sandals.
You're
and
looking for a pocket protector.
Yeah, no, that's a nerd. A dweeb is, I don't know how to describe a dweeb, but everybody knows a dweeb when they see one. I don't picture Jameson as a dweeb. Russell's definitely a dweeb. He's a guy that cracks jokes that no one else finds as funny. He finds it hilarious. He's very awkward. Jameis Winston's just a fucking. He has an IQ of a lawn chair, and he says the dumbest, most off the cuff shit. Either way, it's going to be an interesting quarterback room.
One more, right? We talked about it the other night.
God, I hope my dream comes true.
And then they're going to bring Hard Knocks back.
I hope Aaron Rodgers goes to the Giants too. That would be
we literally talked about it the other night.
I believe he is poised now to be a Steeler. I think that's what this is saying. But it would be just personally to have a quarterback room of Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston would be the most hilarious quarterback room.
Oh yeah,
not in the good way.
They would have to have multiple quarterback rooms.
Train wreck of a way.
They would have to have multiple quarterback rooms. There's no way they're all going to be able to mesh in any way.
I would subscribe to a service to just stream the three of them watching film together.
Yeah, no. I don't think I could. I don't know. I could watch the first episode, but I think I'd grow very predictable of how it would all turn out.
I just want to.
There might not be more than one episode, actually.
Look, it would be one of those where you'd have to take a shot every time Aaron Rodgers sighs heavy.
No, can't do that. We wouldn't live. We would die from alcohol poisoning before we got halfway through the show.
Oh God! But I think this is I think the next thing will be come across wires. I think that Aaron's going to sign a 1-year deal with the Steelers. If Aaron Rodgers doesn't sign with the Steelers are effectively screwed.
Yeah.
Because all they have right now, we can talk about them real quick since we brought them up. But the Steelers, they did trade to get DK. Yep. I don't know if he can play quarterback. They did get Kenneth Gainwell, and then they brought Mason Rudolph back. So currently, Mason Rudolph is their quarterback.
Yep. I mean, it fits.
So there's some murmurs that they're going to go after Jackson Dart in the draft because of where they're drafted. That would be interesting. But and I would imagine if somehow they don't get Aaron Rodgers, that would probably be their path is to try to get one of those quarterbacks out of the draft.
Yeah.
And do what they got to do to make that happen. So some other big moves that we probably should hit on at the beginning. So tell me how you feel about the Seahawks picking up Darnold, Cooper Kupp. You know, they got rid of Tyler Lockett got dropped. They traded away
DK.
We just talked about DK. Then they traded away Geno to the Raiders.
Yep. And
so they brought in a new offensive coordinator this year, Clint Kubiak, I think it was this. So they're going to – it's more of a passing – I think Kubiak's offense is kind of the same vein of like – what they're doing. I'm trying to think of the tree that he comes off of. I want to say he came off of the tree that what's his lips? Oh my God. We're already starting with the brain farts. Who's the head coach of the Chiefs? Andy Reid. I think he came off of the Andy Reid coaching tree, but he may have come off of the Shanahan coaching tree. And if he came off I want to say it's a zone run vertical passing type scheme, but either way, I think they're going to be a little bit more organized offense as opposed to last year. So I don't know, but their offensive line's kind of trash.
Yeah.
So
there's, I don't know. Darnold had a great year last year, but there was so much talent around him.
And he was in a great system.
And a great O-line, a great system. And, I mean, we've seen what Darnold does without an O-line and without targets and without, all that headache. So I'm a little worried. I love JSN to the moon. Hope it was going to be a good year for him. And now takes a little bit of a step back for me. Unless Darnold can come out there and shovel it around. I mean, there's a chance maybe they do something with the draft and get some protection for him, or they move a few more pieces around and get a little more protection out there where he can have that time he needs to. Because JSN can be like a Justin Jefferson light kind of deal, or, like a Jordan Addison plus kind of situation. And Cooper Kupp, he's a target hog. He can get open when he's not the only guy on the field.
Right.
So, I mean, there's a good chance that they could play well off of each other. I mean, Puka came out and did so great because they were just covering Cooper up, so worried he's going to get all the targets.
Right.
And then we saw last year there was a little more share between it. So, I don't know.
Last year Cooper Kupp kind of started out good and then he was non-existent at the end of the season.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, I don't know. It's kind of one of those where I hope that it turns out well, but I don't really like it, if that makes sense. Like for fantasy wise.
Yeah. It's definitely not something I feel I'm real certain about. The only other thing that concerns me is that both of these receivers have been mainly in their, Jason's only been in the league a couple of years, but their experience in the NFL is mostly out of the slot. That doesn't mean they can't play the outside, but they're going to have to be now because they're the 1 and 2. So they're going to have to be the outside receivers. And so, it's going to be interesting. And also Kubiak came off of the Shanahan coach tree because him and Mike McDonald were together at one point, I think, and I'm pretty sure it was in San Francisco. But either way, he likes to run a lot of that play action type stuff. And so, it's a good offense to do that with. Darnold's, pretty good at the play action pass, but Again, I don't know what the O-line is, and they're going to need more help in the receiver. Those two aren't going to be able to carry the water for that team.
At least they got
themselves.
At least they got a little bit of a decent backfield with Kenneth Walker still back there, as long as he can stay
Charbonnet
healthy. And
there,
Charbonnet, Charbonnet showed that he can be a dude. You know, and that definitely makes a bit of a difference if they're going to play that play action.
Yeah,
you know, a little bit of a threat back there.
So some other moves that's happened. We can stay in this division for a second. The 49ers went and got Mac Jones, Demarcus Robinson. Demarcus Robinson to me is interesting in that offense right now because they're currently, you know, they got rid of Debo. They were trying to move Ayuk. I think they're still trying to move Ayuk. Right now I look at Demarcus Robinson might be the number 2 or 3 depending on what Jennings is. So and then Mac
Ricky
Jones.
Pearsall.
Oh yeah, I forgot about
Pearsall, the rookie there.
Yeah.
I'm sure he flashed a little bit.
He's probably going to be the slot guy, the kind of jack of all trades guy, the Debo Light deal.
Exactly.
But I think Demarcus Robinson can compete against Jennings for that other receiver role.
Oh yeah.
So I don't think it's going to be anything where we're going to be like, oh my God, you got to go get Demarcus Robinson, but I think he could be interested in a deep flex play.
Oh yeah,
deeper leagues, stuff like that.
Especially in a 14-man league or something. If you're drafting late in the end of it, can't figure out what to do with your last pick on a redraft or something.
Right.
Or if you already have him in a dynasty, I mean, I wouldn't drop him at this moment till you see what happens when the season goes.
Other big moves in that division: the Rams got Devontae Adams, essentially to replace Cooper Kupp. Devontae Adams wasn't bad last year. He went and played with his best friend, and he got hyper targeted, so that did help. But we do know that Stafford will also hyper target.
Oh yeah, they re-signed Stafford too, which is
they did re-sign Stafford. So, I'm if I'm in a dynasty and I'm competing, I'm not afraid to go out and get Devontae Adams for I'm not going to spend an arm and a leg to get him.
You could probably get him cheap. I mean, just because I think a lot of people saw a decline last. I mean, he didn't do bad, but it was a decline nonetheless on the amount of targets he had.
It was definitely declining before he got back with Rodgers.
Yeah.
Once he got back with Rodgers and that stint, he was on pace for like almost 200 targets. It's crazy.
Yeah. But I'm saying like as far as the targets were, but he wasn't catching everything. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like there was a decline in his production, and I think that a lot of people think that he's cooked and him going to the Rams isn't going to make a big difference. But I don't feel that way. Like I think you can get him for a good deal right now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not expecting wide receiver 1 numbers out of him, but I think he has the potential to get there depending on what this offense is. But if I can get him and he gives me wide receiver 2 numbers, I'll be pretty happy about that.
You stick him in your flex and you only give up a second or late second or mid second or something, that'd be great. Yeah. Let's
see. Green Bay had done anything of note yet except move some or get rid of some players. So they did. There was a wide receiver. Who was the wide? Oh, they picked up Mecole Hardman. I don't really expect much out of that.
They didn't do anything.
They haven't done much. Chicago traded to get Travis Homer, got Olamide Zaccheaus and Devin Duvernay.
Yes.
The Vikings traded for Jordan Mason. I find this interesting. I don't know. Like, obviously, if Jordan Mason's a starter like he was last year, he is fantasy viable. I think that I like it in the sense of this. If Christian McCaffrey comes back and if Christian McCaffrey is healthy, those are big ifs, then Jordan Mason is going to go into witness protection. Now, if he goes to the Vikings and Aaron Jones is there and healthy, then Jordan Mason's going to he'll get more work playing behind a healthy Aaron Jones and he'll get playing behind a healthy CMC.
Yes.
Is basically the point I'm trying to make.
Which is why it's good. It's a good fit. And it's a good fit for Aaron Jones, in my opinion, because last year he kind of was the only option in the backfield, and you could see there were games when he was showing his age. I'll put it that way. And I think them re-signing him and wanting to keep him is a good thing, but getting him a little help in the backfield is a plus for both sides because you could see more big runs out of him instead of this 3 and then they have to throw the ball, or 2 runs and they have to throw the ball. He can have that breakaway where he sits on, gets his break, and Mason can have a little.
And Aaron Jones is getting up there in age. I don't expect him to fall off drastically this year, but we have seen players in the past. Austin Eckler comes to mind, where one season they were really good, and the next season they disappeared.
Yeah.
And if that happens, then there is a small percentage chance that Jordan Mason can become the guy this year. And then we also know, despite the fact that Aaron Jones did play every game last year, he has a history of missing games in the season, more so than playing the entire season. So,
like I said, watching him, you can kind of see his age in some of the games. Like he would be out there, but he didn't look like Aaron Jones. He looked tired and beat. Like he had to be out there. So I like it. I mean, even as a Jordan Mason owner, because Aaron Jones isn't going to be there forever. And this could be, if he does well, he could easily take the backfield over the next year. So.
Yes. And I felt like Jordan Mason was getting pushed by Garindo out there anyway. I think Garindo will ultimately be a better running back than Jordan Mason. So I think Jordan Mason is a really good back. Don't get me wrong. But I think that Garindo would have eventually taken his spot because he's faster and he's a better runner of the ball. So I think this gives Jordan Mason an opportunity to flourish and have more long-term value, I think, in Dynasty than he would have had he stayed at San Francisco.
Truth.
Let's see. They also picked up Rondale Moore. The Vikings did. So we'll see. Rondale's one of those guys that last year was the first time where he was in his career that he was consistently somewhat fantasy.
I thought he was injured all year last year. I think he's still he's with the Falcons because I was super excited.
Oh, wait a minute. Who was it? No, I'm thinking of not Rondale Moore. Who was the other receiver that they had last year that wasn't obviously Drake London and wasn't what's his lips from Chicago? It was the other dude but you're right. Rondale Moore was the injured guy.
Yeah, he stayed on IR most of the year last year.
Because we were happy about him going there.
Oh, man.
I can't believe that's already started. I haven't even got
Mooney.
No, that's
from Chicago.
No, that's the
one from Chicago. What's his name from Chicago? What's his lips from Chicago? Okay,
yes, I'm
figuring this out. I'm narrowing this down.
Ray
McLeod. Okay, from Pittsburgh. Yeah, what's his lips from Pittsburgh? Yeah, I got you.
Ray wasn't he from San Francisco? I thought Ray played for in San Francisco.
I only remember from the Steelers. He was a punt returner for the Steelers for like 3 years or something. I mean, he played some wide receiver, but he was a punt returner.
Never mind on that. Rondale Moore, we were happy because we were like, maybe he'll get in an offense where he'll get utilized correctly, and then he got hurt in preseason and didn't play or something.
Didn't play, tore ACL or something and missed the whole season on line.
So that'll be interesting there. Let's see. The Lions haven't really done anything and when I say haven't done anything by these teams, we're focusing on fantasy viable type stuff. I mean, everybody signed a bunch of players.
Yeah, O-linemen, defensive
D-linemen, all
those.
Yeah, but we're not really going to talk about those. Let's see. Washington traded to get Debo. We talked about that a second ago. It's interesting. Debo last year really fell off. He was the dude there, and he just wasn't the dude.
Yeah,
we wanted him to step up. He had opportunity in San Francisco to do that. He didn't step up. So there was reports that he was sick and that he was injured, and it also sounds like a lot of times when players have bad seasons, all of a sudden these mystery illnesses and injuries that we didn't know about all season pop up to kind of justify it. But we'll see. He'll definitely have an opportunity in Washington with that offense behind a good quarterback. He doesn't have to be the guy because McLaurin is the dude. So he can go out there and go back into that role of a wide back that he likes. And then Michael Gallup's coming out of retirement to play for Washington. So
I don't know what I really think about. I mean, not that it's a.
I think he's just trying to get on one more ride.
You're just trying to get
this team's. They got some good energy right now.
They re-signed Ertz too. I mean, it's a 1-year deal, but I mean, it's a shot.
Anybody who's got Ben Sinnott was pissed when you saw that.
But it is a shot to show you that they felt that they were close last year, and if they can hold on to a lot of the pieces that got them there,
and pick up the defense a little bit better,
they can make something happen. I mean, and so, I mean, yeah, I don't hate it him going there because hopefully he's just like a filler. He doesn't actually become a dude there.
Yeah,
if he does, he'll be injured by week 3 and it won't matter. So we'll all be happy for that, or not happy that he got injured, but yeah, Michael Gallup to the Commanders. That's a
I didn't expect that. Dallas, oh my god, dude, Dallas does okay in the draft generally, but man, their free agency is just garbage, and them re-signing players they always do it too late so that they have to overspend. But anyway, their big signings thus far in the offseason: Javonte Williams and Miles Sanders and Paris Campbell, who I didn't even know Paris Campbell was still in the league.
I didn't either. And you know what? He's probably only been in the league for like 3 years. I don't think that's true, but he
No,
feels
Paris
like
Campbell has been in the league since Tom Brady was a rookie. That's the way it feels like.
it feels like he's a name that that we're going to sit here and go, he's been in the league forever, and I'm going to go look it up. It's going to be like his rookie year was 2022 or some shit.
How old is Paris Campbell? All right, we'll see.
83. Am I close?
He's 27.
That's what I was saying. Like,
I felt like he's 46.
I feel like he's been in the league for 30 years, but realistically, he's probably only played for like 2 teams and
Good
3.
Lord.
But yeah,
he is definitely one of those players that feels like he's been in the league since 2002 or something.
Since 2012, that he was signed as apparently a 16-year-old rookie.
That's crazy.
And the Javonte signing's kind of I don't know, like I don't know what to think about Javonte. He had so much talent coming into the league, and then he got injured.
Man, the injury really screwed him up, and I don't. There's a school of thought that he hasn't fully come back from the injury, and that he, because I forget what it was. I want to say it was ACL.
Yes, I think ACL.
And sometimes with the ACL, it's the second year back from an ACL that you really start to get back into the groove. And if that's the case, then the Cowboys got him a sleeper pick.
That was last year, though, was the second year back after the injury,
it was
wasn't
his first year, but it could have been his second. I think you're right.
My problem...
Maybe he just needs an extra year.
Well, maybe he needs to just be the only guy that they want to play out of the backfield.
Well, see, now they got Miles Sanders there. They're going to run. We're going to run a committee of Miles Sanders and Javonte Williams.
Yeah, it's...
And so, and then what's going to happen is they're going to go draft somebody.
Yeah, and then we're not going to hear from either one of these guys.
Well, or they're gonna run one of these guys over the rookie who's clearly better, like they did when they ran Zeke over Rico Dowdle forever, or when they ran Zeke over Tony Pollard forever. You know, they always have a preferential lean to the established veterans in their lineups, and then they do the younger talent. So
well, I've been holding on to enough Javonte to where he needs to blow up this year. It needs to come to fruition. I mean, I got good deals on him.
Yeah, like 2 years, like the preseason 2 years ago.
Yeah,
you went all in on Javonte.
I did. I went and got him everywhere.
Everywhere you could get him, you were paying out the booty.
Well, I got some really cheap buys that I thought was on it. Now it didn't work out cheap. Like one, I gave up like a second. I think.
I mean, I did the same thing on. I did the same thing on Rashad Bateman one year, and I did the same thing on oh God, what's his name? Plays for the Chiefs now. That was injured. He came back last season.
Pacheco?
No, he played. He played for the Ravens, and then he went to the Chiefs. Wide receiver.
Went to the Chiefs from the Ravens?
Yes.
Hollywood? No, that was
Hollywood Brown.
Okay,
that was who I went in.
Yeah.
Was it the same year you went in heavy on Javonte?
You went on Marcus.
Dude, I wanted to get Hollywood everywhere. I'm like, this dude, he had a pretty good year the year before where he was like at points, he was a top 5 receiver, and then I think he got hurt. He fell off a little bit or something. But I was like, they were changing the offense to a more passing offense. This is about to be Hollywood, and I was, oh man!
And then he couldn't catch the ball for like the whole season. They would go right out of his fingertips.
That year that he dropped those damn touchdowns. Oh man! But yeah,
he'd have 2 touchdowns in a game, but he could have had 6.
I've tried to refrain from doing that this offseason. There was a couple players where I just have a sneaky feeling about, but I'm just like, I did do it a little bit with Pacheco last year, and it looked like it was working good. And then Pacheco got hurt, and
the ground got even. Is what happened. The ground
and now that's another backfield. The Chiefs, they re-signed Hunt, and then they picked up Elijah Mitchell.
Yeah,
and now they got Pacheco.
Yeah,
and what they'll do is they'll probably draft this draft is running back deep. So they'll more likely also add another running back in this draft.
Somebody else, but like a CEH maybe.
God. And then the Kansas City also signed Minshew to back up Mahomes. So yeah. And then we talked a little bit about the Raiders. The Raiders picked up Geno in the trade, and then they signed Old Man River, Raheem Mostert, who's currently the best running back on their roster. And then the Chargers went back and got a familiar face, brought in Mike Williams for them. And then Denver, they picked up Evan Ingram. Now, this is an interesting one to talk about for a minute. Evan Ingram, we hear them talk a lot about the Joker tight end that Sean Payton wants. and that's basically just a athletic tight end who can play wide receiver, tight end, and even at times maybe do some stuff out of the backfield. And he said he wanted a joker. He went and got Evan Ingram, and then Evan Ingram posted to social media a picture of the joker. I think if, again, we talk about being a contender in fantasy, this might be a tight end I go after and just hope for the best, hope that he stays healthy and that he gets utilized the way. Bo Nix is a quarterback that will happily get the ball to the tight end.
Yes.
He's a very smart quarterback, but he will dump it off. He will take what defenses give him over the middle, and then he'll also take shots. So,
well, now he has a tight end he can actually throw it to, instead of 4 possible tight ends that might be available out there on the field. That's why I'm super excited about this. This kind of like locks down that position for this team. And that makes it so much easier when you have a quarterback you can trust and a tight end you can trust fantasy-wise.
Oh, yeah.
Instead of last year, we were trying to figure out what guy's going to be the guy, and it's
like we did with the running back.
Same thing with the running back.
So we hope they sign a running back we hope that they draft a running back high enough that they're going to be forced to play him. I hope they draft somebody in the first round.
That way you're like, is it going to be Audric Estime, or is it still going to be what's the other one?
I don't know if Batty's still there, but Javante was there.
There's McLaughlin or whatever.
McLaughlin.
It's like every week it's like, who do you put in? And it's like eventually it just became nobody. You play the receivers. Cortland Sutton needs to be out. These guys need to be out there, but don't even try running back. Don't even think about a tight end. But now that's solidified, in my opinion. This is Ingram could be easily a top 5 tight end this year in this offense. And I made a trade for it in a rebuild. Just because the value is so great, in my opinion, that this could be something that really gets me some deep picks for next year.
Absolutely. Let's see. Philadelphia, real quick. Part of the trade where they sent Kenny Pickett to the Browns. They got DTR back. They also picked up Harrison Bryant and AJ Dillon. I only mentioned Harrison Bryant for the simple fact of they are or were. I'm not sure if they still are, but they were actively shopping Goddard. So. They were actively shopping him to trade, and so Harrison Bryant would have been the top dude.
They must not like Galacatera.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot about Galacatera.
It reminds me of Galaga, but it's like Galacatera, yeah. I really like the last name. And he kind of had a couple moments here or there, but it wasn't promising in the absence of Goddard.
It was definitely a better tight end.
100%. Yes.
And then they picked up AJ Dillon. I think that was just mainly to help with the tush push.
Oh, man. Could you imagine? Oh, my God. If Dillon, Barkley, and Hurts are all back there.
I think that will be what the tush push will be.
It's going to be like 4th and 5, and they're still going to get the tush push because they're going to lift him up.
Here's what they're going to do: they're just going to run the tush push next season.
The whole every play,
and they're going to get 3 or 4 yards every play, and they're just going to march down the field with a tush push, and then score touchdowns.
I think let's say
Jalen Hurts is going to have 78 touchdowns next season.
Jalen Hurts from waist to top of his fully reached is probably 3 yards. So if Saquon can take one part of the tush, and AJ Dillon can take the other part of the tush and just lift, and then let him fall forward. He's going to get 4 yards every time.
Or they could run AJ Dillon at quarterback in the tush push, and they could let Booty Cheeks. They would have plenty of space to grab onto.
It's going to be the cake push.
The dump truck push.
Whole new meaning, the cakewalk on the field out there. They're going to be.
Oh, Lord have mercy. Let's see. Carolina picked up Rico Dowdle. I find that to be interesting just in the fact of fantasy viable. I don't think he's going to be much definitely not what he was last year. But as a Panther fan, it makes me feel better that if something happens with Chuba, I think Rico's a pretty serviceable running back. I don't expect him to, break any records, but he was a 1,000-yard rusher last year. He can catch out of the backfield. Him and Chuba are very similar. I think Chuba's a better running back, but I think Rico will be an asset to the team.
It could definitely be a 1-2. Like I like Chuba as a running back. I like Rico more as a pass catcher. Like he's very elusive. Yeah. Chuba's more of he gets the ball, he's gone, he's up the middle, that kind of deal. That grunt more so than Rico is, but
yeah,
I like that whole. I like it when you got a good option for passing in your running back instead of just that downhill guy every time you hand him the ball and everything. So it could open up the passing for Bryce Young, having these two guys out there.
Atlanta and Tampa Bay haven't done a lot in the free agent or trade market. On the off, or like for fantasy stuff, they haven't really picked up anybody. They did re-sign a bunch of people, things of that nature. New Orleans picked up Velus Jones. Only mentioned Velus Jones because I'm pretty sure he was a first round pick for the Bears. If not, he was a second round pick. So he was a high draft pick receiver that hasn't done jack squat.
He was with the Bears, right?
Yeah. And then they brought Brandon Cooks back. Brandon Cooks, this dude never stays anywhere long.
I think this is a retirement year for him. I mean, he rookied with them back in like 2011 or some shit. And
I think he came in the league this like 2 years after Paris Campbell.
Yeah, he had to have, yeah. And they signed CEH too. Bring that up.
I think that was last year when they signed CEH.
Is it really?
I think so. I may be wrong. It was definitely before because CEH was a free agent before the free agent period started.
I got you.
But yeah, they got CEH there.
But Brandon Cooks, I think it's going to be a retirement year. I think it's just going to be like, hey, I'm retiring as a Saint. I've had 7,000-8,000 yard seasons. Nobody really knows how good I wasn't or was, but
because he never stayed anywhere for Dallas. I would feel like he stayed in Dallas more years than he stayed anywhere else, and it was only like 3 years in Dallas.
Was it that long?
Maybe.
Oh
not.
shit! Just across the wire right now.
Oh yeah.
Yes, the Patriots just signed Stephon Diggs.
Holy shit.
2 or 3 years, $69 million.
I haven't got that notification yet. Wow, that is breaking news. Hold on.
Diggs.
Let's see.
This just in. New England Patriots are signing wide receiver Stephon Diggs to a 3-year, up to $69 million deal per Adam Schefter.
Nice. That's good. That's Adam Schefter, by the way. Schefter. It might be Adam Schefter. There's a T in there.
There's
right?
a T in there.
Yes,
yeah.
it's Schefter.
Okay, but
Schefter. Hell, I just met her.
I love this because I'm so sick of people online talking about the Bills are going to re-sign Stephon Diggs.
Oh God,
it's been driving me up the wall.
Josh Allen, who just got a fat ass contract, by the way, would go into the general manager's office and punch him in the face if he brought Diggs back.
It's like I just want people to shut up for a minute. It's not, but. To
now
the
I can shut up. Yeah,
Drake May stock just went up a little bit.
It did. I think that Stephon Diggs is a little bit of a locker room cancer, but if he's the only guy there, it doesn't matter.
That's what
he's going to get all the targets.
Booty showed up a little bit, Demario Douglas a little bit, but they don't have that guy on that offense. So this is interesting to me for the Drake to the Drake May owners. In my opinion,
I love it. I got Drake May in a bunch of leagues. I got one league that I have the 101 and the 110, and I think I'm going running back because I've got a young core. It's a super flex. I've got Drake May, Bryce Young, and McCarthy. And then I've got Marvin Harrison Jr. and a couple of other young, like Xavier Worthy and whatever, because I'm in the rebuild. And I was looking at the team, and I'm like, oh, shit. I'm not saying I'm winning the championship next year, but I might be climbing to the other side of the rebuild.
Yeah, exactly.
Like next year might be a year to start competing, getting back into the mix, with these quarterbacks. So if I can run Drake May and JJ McCarthy out there, and with Bryce being my bench guy, and I can get Genty at the 101, and then one of these other good backs hopefully gets in a good spot, I can try to get him at the 110. Because I really running backs where I'm really hurt. I think Jalen Warren's like my top running back in that league right now. So that's where I've got to make some. If I don't get good running backs, I definitely can't make any sort of run. But anyway, I love that. I love that as someone who has shares of Drake May.
That's definitely a big shot.
Because one thing is that Stephon Diggs can get open in the short field. He can be. If he's vibing with a quarterback, he can be a quarterback's best friend.
Oh yeah, and we saw last year with the Texans. Like even with Nico and Tank Dell out there, Diggs was still getting his money out.
Oh, he was. He was.
Diggs was still getting
because he gets open.
Exactly.
One thing Diggs does, Diggs gets open.
Oh yeah, and so that's a big thing. I like that. I do like that.
Let's see. Baltimore signed Cooper Rush, and the big signing was they got D Hop out there. I think D Hop's obviously on the back end, the last leg of his career. I don't know what he has left in the tank for fantasy, but it's going to be interesting to see. It does hurt. I think it hurts the Rashad Bateman. I think it also will put a little damper on your guy, Flowers.
Yeah.
Because I think D-Hop operates kind of in that same space now. He's not much of a down the field guy anymore. I don't think he has that speed, and that's really where Bateman lives. But I don't know that he's good enough to push them take too much from him.
Yeah, or if it's even really going to make that much of an impact. I mean, we saw last year, even with the Chiefs, it was kind of floundering.
Yeah,
it's just all going downhill. Not downhill. He's coming to the, it's coming to the end.
He's getting old. Let's see. We talked a little bit about the Bills. Josh Allen. I will bring up these contracts. 6-year, $330 million.
So that was more of a team play because
because they backloaded it and they gave him guaranteed.
Exactly. When they moved it around because he was already still under a 3-year deal, still for 3 years, but they stretched it for 6 and moved it around so they could have more for this year,
so they can sign Shakir to a 4-year, $60 million.
They can get Shakir.
If you got Shakir in Dynasty, that was very good for you because that means that he had a good year last year. That they're putting their faith in him. Yep. He's the guy there right now. Mm-hmm. Keon Coleman did not step up last year and take the reins.
He dealt with some injuries too.
He did. I'm not giving up on Keon, but I'm just saying that Shakir is right now. He's Josh Allen's best friend.
And they signed Josh
Palmer. That was a pretty good, substantial contract too. So,
which is crazy to me. I mean, I don't know.
He hasn't done anything.
I felt like they could have kept Mac Hollins for cheaper, and it would have been more relevant, if that makes sense. Like,
New England getting Mac Hollins. I wanted to talk about that.
Mac Hollins got New England, and they only signed him. I think it's like $3 million a year or something on Mac Hollins. Yeah, at New England, it's a small contract for like 2 years, I think, but. The Josh Palmer contract was way larger.
It could have been that Mac Hollins was like, look, guys. Which it doesn't make sense because he went to the Patriots. But I was thinking maybe he was just like, it's so damn cold up here and me being barefoot all the time.
Have you seen his videos, though, when he does his cold practice?
No.
So the Bills training
they probably got rid of him because he's so fucking weird.
Their training facility has what they call a cold room, and it's like negative 12 degrees, and they actually go in like not naked, but they go in like their skivvies, and they stand in there for 20-30 seconds at a time to cold prep their body, to get their body ready for the temperatures out there and everything. He goes in there for 4, 5, and 6 minutes at a time. He just sits in there barefooted, and I watch some of his because
that's why they got rid of him, because they're like, he's going to die
like this
in our cold room.
This guy's not going to survive.
We don't want to come into the cold room one day and find Mac Hollins dead in there. And then now we've got this PR nightmare on our hands.
And we don't know if he doesn't eat off utensils, so it could be germs on his hands that killed him. It could be
germs on his feet. His feet. I can only imagine that the bottom of his feet are like rawhide leather.
They got to be. They got to be soup stuff, man.
Like this guy goes, I know he probably does it, but if he went to get a pedicure, they would be like, yo, bring in the belt sander.
I just imagine
not the electric one. I want the gas powered freaking belt sander in here right now.
I just imagine that like he's like Barney Rubble, Fred Flintstone. That's how his car, he drives his car like, you see the movie where they're so pedaling with the feet and stuff.
When they show him walking into the game, he'll have like a suit on and then he'll just be flopping his bare ass feet down the damn look. And that's fine if that's how you want to. But the only thing is, live your best life barefoot. The one thing that I can't do barefoot is go to the bath. Like I can go into my bathroom barefoot, but like a public restroom or God forbid a porta-john.
Well, his
absolutely not.
His interviews and stuff says he does have like covers where some places he doesn't like to cover his feet up, but like the airport and stuff, they make you wear shoes.
Yeah, well, I wonder if Mac Hollins stops at a gas station and is like, no shoes, no shirt, no service. I wonder if he just like chucks deuces and rolls away,
or just tries
or if he bucks the system.
Just tries it, man. That's I don't know. He started his own like a TikTok or YouTube or one of those channels kind of deal. So a lot of his videos pop up in my old school reels, whatever. But I mean, it's funny to watch because he explains why he does it and all this stuff, and then all his adventures, many adventures of Mac Hollins. But yeah, no, I was like, it just didn't make sense to me. Like, unless Josh Palmer comes out and lights the world on fire this year, I'll eat crow. But I just felt like
Palmer's had ample opportunity
with a good quarterback, good system,
and multiple years of ample opportunity, and
it hasn't done nothing.
He couldn't beat out Quentin Johnson, who couldn't catch a ball. Or Quentin Johnson couldn't catch a cold, and he still couldn't beat him out for fucking receptions.
And that's why I don't like. That's why I felt like it would have been a cheaper play to hold Mack Hollins, who did show some relevance towards the end of the season.
Yeah, and he has chemistry with Josh Allen.
There's already that there, and they would have saved money instead of.
It's going to be an interesting wide. See now that wide receiver room in
oh man,
the Patriots
and the Patriots, yeah.
Stephon Diggs and Mack Hollins. I want to be a fly on the wall when those two guys meet each other.
Man.
Well, actually, did they play together in Buffalo? Was Mack Hollins there? I think he was in Atlanta.
I think he was in Atlanta
when Diggs was in Buffalo. I don't think that they overlapped.
That's a correct statement.
But man, that would be that would be like the Aaron Rodgers, Jameis Winston meeting. Yeah, I would like to see Diggs and Mack Hollins. But I we can talk a little bit about the Pats. I do like Mack Hollins there. I think he has an opportunity. Like, he's a good receiver. He hasn't really broke out, but last year I think was his best year. He proved to be a really good red zone target for Josh Allen. And I think that he has an opportunity to step up and maybe assume the number 2 now that Diggs is there. The discussion I was prepared to have was for him to become the number 1 receiver for the Patriots. But now that Diggs is there, clearly, I think that he maybe has an opportunity to become the number 2 receiver based on the fact that there's nobody established in that wide receiver room. And Mack Hollins does have talent there. And he's a big guy, and he's a good 50-50 guy. He's got good hands. So
yeah. I think, like, I don't know. He may be one of those we feel like we see as inflated because we see in 2022 he played for Las Vegas, and he had his best year, which was he had 690 yards and 4 touchdowns.
So last year wasn't his best year?
No, last year he only had.
I felt like I heard his name called more, but I guess maybe it's probably
it
because
was like
he played for the Bills and he was on TV.
He
more.
was so much. He was talked about so much, and he's like his. When he did have a play, it was like game changing, if that makes sense. Like
I didn't realize he came in the league in 2022. I figured he'd only been in the league well, I guess that's right, 3 years.
This is going to blow your mind. He started in 2017 on the Philadelphia Eagles.
Oh, well then never mind. Never mind. Yeah. He is what he is.
He's 31 right now.
Yeah, never mind.
He is Paris Campbell, but in Mack Hollins form.
He's actually Paris Campbell. Somebody look, I know what it is. He should be 27 and Paris Campbell should be 31. That's somebody got it wrong on the Googles.
He played for Philly for 2017.
Good God.
And then 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021
I would have lost so much money if somebody would have walked in here before you told me that and said $100 right now if you can get within 2 years of when Mack Hollins was a rookie. I'd have been like 2021.
And they would have been like,
no, yeah, I'd have lost. That's what I said. I lost
some money.
Yeah, there's 0% chance I'd have thought it was a teen behind the year that he came in.
So yeah, no, I just think it's like he's had a 2-year, $8.4 million contract, so it's $4 million a year. Well, I don't know how it's split, but
all right. Well, never mind.
Yeah, but
he's not going to be fantasy viable.
He probably
scrap
won't
all
be.
that.
Yeah.
He's never been.
If he'd have stayed with Buffalo, I'd probably talk a little bit about his fantasy viability, but especially not now that he's got to compete with Diggs. That's never going to happen.
All right, Bengals pick up Samaje Perine. Meh. I think that's better for Brown's status than it is for Perine. That lets us know that they believe in Chase Brown.
Yeah, Brown's the guy.
And so let's see. Houston went and got Christian Kirk to Houston's interesting, although their wide receiver room, if everybody's healthy, with Tank Dell, obviously with Nico Collins, who is just an absolute fucking monster.
And Diggs gone now. So
Diggs gone. So Kirk will have some a chance there. And the good thing for Christian Kirk is he can go back to the role of not having to be the dude.
Yeah.
But they also got Justin Watson and Braxton Berrios, so do with that information what you will. The Colts, this is also interesting. Daniel Jones for the Colts, they're going to have a battle. Basically, the Colts are like, look, Anthony, if you want to be our starting quarterback, you got to beat Daniel Jones. And if you can't beat Daniel Jones, then you're not going to be our starting quarterback.
Daniel Jones is going to go hold my beer, and he's going to beat himself. And then Anthony Richardson's going to get injured watching him.
I can go ahead and tell you right now, if I am starting a team and I've got to pick between those two, I don't need to see him on the field. I'm taking Daniel Jones 10 out of 10 times.
Yeah.
Anthony Richardson is the superior athlete by a landslide. And Daniel Jones isn't a bad athlete. He's got pretty good legs. He at one point he was clocked running over 20 miles per hour, so he's got decent speed at the QB position. But Anthony Richardson just blows goats at throwing the ball to the right.
At being a quarterback.
Yes, at being an actual quarterback. I would rather take Anthony Richardson and just really try to convince him to play another position.
Yeah.
Like what?
Put him out there tight end.
No, I don't think he's too small to play tight end. Wide receiver, safety, something like that.
6'4", 244. He could probably play tight end.
I guess
He's right at that cusp. I mean, right at that.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he could be. I think about the blocking side of playing a tight end.
Yeah, he probably
like he would be basically just a receiving tight end.
Yeah, he would only be.
He would be like Gesicki. Gesicki's like blocking. I don't know what the fuck that is.
That means. I think if I had their team, I'd probably start Jason Bean at quarterback, who is the third string.
If I had their team and I wanted to compete, I'd have kept Old Man River Flacco.
Yeah, or went out there and tried to get Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah. But yeah. So they're basically telling him that he's got to beat out Daniel Jones. I think he'll probably start the season at quarterback, and then he'll shit the bed a couple times and then get hurt, and then Daniel Jones will take over.
You know, Daniel Jones is younger than Mac Hollins, in case you were wondering.
But is he younger than Paris Campbell?
They're the same age.
There's no way they came in the league at the same time. There's 0% chance.
Oh, let's see.
Go figure out what year Paris Campbell came in the league.
Daniel Jones came in 2019, so let's go check Paris Campbell.
Paris Campbell came into the league in 2009. Okay, I don't give a shit.
He was probably. It does feel like he's
I swear to God, when I saw that he was 27, I felt like I went back in time.
2019 was his first year.
It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. I fell into a wormhole or something.
Well, in this particular league, you've had him 4 times. You've dropped him and added him from
that does make sense.
That's probably why you think he's so old.
First of all, in every league, I've had everybody at least 4 times on my team. Okay, I add and drop. There's a reason I am the transaction king. Okay, you'll be proud of me though. I have yet to make tons of transactions this offseason.
That's good. It's good. You got to dial it back just a little bit.
I'm trying to be less tinkering, but it's going to fall apart at some point.
Yeah.
Let's see. The Colts. They also picked up Khalil Herbert. That's just to be the backup for
Jonathan Taylor.
JTT. Yeah. Jacksonville. This is interesting. They signed Dyami Brown to a $10 million a year contract. And they got rid of Kirk. Now, obviously, Brian Thomas Jr. is the dude there. That guy's an absolute fucking beast. Gabe Davis is still there, but they are looking for that other receiver. I don't know what Dyami Brown could be. He hasn't been much yet, but they seem to think that he can potentially be something.
He's nearly the same age as Paris Campbell.
There is no way they're almost the same age.
He's 25.
You want to really do a mind warp? How old is DJ Moore?
Oh, he's probably like 22 this year. He's been in the league for 6 years.
He's been in the league since he was 12. I'm pretty sure. Nick Mullins also to Jacksonville for
DJ Moore's 27 this year.
Yeah. So here's what's crazy.
He's been
you're gonna sit. Yeah, he's been in the league twice as long.
7 years.
Like what year did he come in the league?
2018.
Yeah, so he's been a year longer than Paris Campbell.
Yep, so 1 year longer. And he's a year younger. Well, almost a year because their birthdays.
Yeah.
So Paris will be 28 before DJ Moore turns 28. So.
Let's see. Miami. Also, Westbrook-Ikhine to Miami is interesting. That's a low key ad for me in Dynasty. I'm not spending much, but I'm trying to get him as a throw in. He did good last year. It was on bombs. It wasn't like he was catching 8 passes a game. I get all that. but he showed a flash. This team likes to throw the ball downfield. They didn't do it a lot last year. Tyreek might be on the backside of his career, and so Westbrook-Ikhine could be somebody you low-key invest in. I mean, is he older than Paris Campbell?
Yes.
Westbrook-Ikhine is older than Paris Campbell?
Yes, and he's been in the league 2 years less time.
That does make sense. The 2 years less time.
He's got 5 years experience, but he's 28 years old. So
that's insanity.
But I will say this: last year was pretty awesome. He had 60 targets and caught 32 of them. So
yeah, it's about half.
If you give him a competent quarterback,
yes,
those 60 turn into 45 or 50.
Yeah.
And those 9 touchdowns he got on that, which is astronomical.
Yeah, he was the touch. He would have a game where he caught 3 passes for 138 yards and 2 touchdowns.
But I mean, could you imagine like if he caught 45 or even 50, or it'd be 45 on 60 targets, and he'd have 13 touchdowns.
Yeah,
he would have finished as like wide receiver. I don't know. Let's just guess 25 instead of 57 or 54. Yeah. On a backup, So
yeah,
I like him going to Miami.
Look, and when I say he's a sneaky ad, I'm not saying this dude's going to be your top receiver.
Yeah.
He could be your second flex, but he if you can get him as a throw in on a deal you're trying to put together where you're just like, I don't know, this doesn't seem fair, but they got Westbrook-Ikhine. Hey, throw in Westbrook-Ikhine instead of going for a 3rd or a 4th round draft pick.
Yeah,
try to get Westbrook-Ikhine thrown in on the deal.
Exactly. Yeah.
Let's see. Zach Wilson, the MILF Hunter, also went to Miami. That's actually interesting because we all know that Tua is like one hit away from never playing football again.
That's true.
And then Alexander Madison, whatever. That dude is cooked. And then, all right. So I saved for me personally the most interesting move of the season because I don't know what it means, and that is Justin Fields to the Jets. I like it. I may be the only one that does like it. I think the Jets are a dysfunctional organization. I think Justin Fields he's on the cusp of potentially, like, to me, Justin Fields feels like he needs somebody to unlock him.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody to spin the right combination, and you will get a good quarterback out of him. They have a completely revamped coaching staff in the Jets. They paid money to invest in this guy. He is going to get the opportunity there. By all accounts, he's not going up there to compete with anybody. And I think that they went out and made the move to get him because somebody on that team believes that they can make him work. I want it to happen. He has Garrett Wilson, who is, by my estimation, a top 10 wide receiver in the NFL. Like talent-wise.
Yeah.
And they did go out and get Stone Smart, which I also find interesting because last year Stone Smart, in the brief time that he got to play when Disley got hurt for the Chargers, he's a super athletic guy at tight end. And I think that they got rid of Conklin. So I don't know what Fields can be. I know he can run the ball. We all know that. But I don't think they brought him in to be Anthony Richardson, or tuck the ball and run. I mean, he's going to use his legs. Don't get me wrong. That's not what I'm saying. But I think that they brought him in because there's something that they believe in him as a quarterback. He was 4-2 with the Steelers last year when he got benched.
Mm-hmm.
The problem was that a lot of that 4-2 was how good their defense was, and he wasn't necessarily bad at quarterback. He just wasn't exemplary. He wasn't making big throws down the field.
Yeah.
And I think that's where he's lacking. Maybe it's a confidence thing. He definitely has the arm to do it. Maybe it's somebody not designing the right offense for him. And I think with the investment the Jets made with this new coaching staff, I think that they are invested in making him their guy, creating the offense for him. And I want to see it happen. He is somebody that I am definitely interested in getting on a cheap. I'm not going to overspend for him, but if I can get him in a dynasty league, I will be drafting him late in rounds in redraft. He's somebody I want to get, not as my number one quarterback. I'll draft somebody that I can depend on, but I will throw Justin Fields on the back half of a draft if possible. And just to see, because of what his potential is, what he has done. And I think that Garrett Wilson and him, can finally. We saw what he did with DJ Moore when he did hyper target him. He did make him something. He even made Darnell Mooney something for a minute in Chicago. So he has the potential to do that, and he hasn't had the best offensive schemes for him since he's been in the league.
Yeah.
He came into a terrible situation in Chicago, and then that coaching staff got canned, and then the next coaching staff, they're like, we don't like this guy.
Yep.
Then he went to Pittsburgh, and it was Arthur Smith who wants to run the ball, and then they're like, no, we want Russell to be the guy. And I think now the Jets are like, nope, we're going in. We went in on this guy. They didn't go all in. They didn't give him $30 million a year, but I feel like the contract was close to $20 million a year or something, and I think with incentives possibly. And so that's not, maybe it's $16 million a year, but it's not chump change.
2-year, $40 million.
Yeah. So it's $20 million a year. And so that's enough money for me to think that they really believe in this guy.
Yeah. $30 million is guaranteed too.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And so I don't know. How do you feel about it? How do you feel about that situation? Am I crazy?
No, I think that you got old man Tyrod Taylor over here going, hey, I see this guy and I see a lot of potential in him. They're similar in their styles. Like the being able to run but wanting to throw the ball. I think when Justin Fields played for the Bears, all 3 years there was a lot of timing issues. The blocking wasn't the greatest.
Well, he held the ball a lot.
He held the ball a lot, and it's all rookie. It's all young stuff that you get over. And when he played with Pittsburgh, there was a lot less of holding the ball and scrambling around and trying to get it out. But he didn't have he didn't have the confidence and the time to get it downfield. Exactly, to really push the ball. And I think the Jets.
He ain't a YOLO thrower like Russell is. He's not a gunslinger.
Exactly. He's not going to play.
He's not just going to
wants to feel confident
and pray for the best.
I mean, he played 6 games. He only had 1 interception all 6 games. So now he had 5 or 6 touchdowns, something like that. But I mean, it wasn't a great fit for him in that.
So maybe
aspect.
if you could add some attributes, add it to his aggression.
A little time and tell him, look, trust yourself and just put the ball out there. I think with someone like Tyrod Taylor kind of helping coach, that veteran that, hey, look, I've thrown interceptions. I've played this game. This is what you got to do. You get somebody that is similar in style, kind of helping push him along. I think Fields has a big year this year. I'm putting my money where my mouth is because I went out and spent, I don't know, I think I've got like $1,300 invested in rookie cards for him now.
Yeah.
So that when the Jets are freaking 7-2 mid-season because of Fields, I can dump them off and make money off of them. But I mean, I don't know that it's a long-term thing. But I do feel that there's enough there with Garrett Wilson and with Breece Hall and Braylon Allen.
Yeah.
They've got the backs that can help that RPO option, bring pressure back and all stuff. And then who knows what, Alan Lazard might step up a little bit again, or Malachi Corley, the rookie.
Yeah.
I haven't seen a lot out of him yet.
Well, and the thing is, too, I can't remember the offensive coordinator's name, but he was, if I remember right, he was the passing coordinator for the Lions, which means he worked in their offense.
Yeah.
So you look at what the Lions did and how they worked with Goff and how they have that ability. Now the O-line is definitely something they've got to strengthen, but they like to play a lot off that play action. They like to do that, and then they like to take their shots, but they like to have that guy over the middle too. So, I think with the offense that's coming in, the defensive minded head coach, Aaron Glenn, I think the Jets are I think they want to do different than what they've done, where they just threw something out there without a whole lot of thought.
Yeah.
And I think that this year they put more thought into it, and they brought in some people who weren't just going to go sign the big name and then let the big name tell them who the fuck to bring in and have all this dysfunction going on. It's like, no, we're going to build a team. We're going to build a system. And then I think that they designated Justin Fields as who they're going to design this system around. And that's who they want. And I think they targeted him. They went for him specifically with all these other quarterbacks. They could have went Sam Darnold, even Russell. I know they weren't going for Rodgers, obviously, because he was there. But I just think they were like, nope, this is who we want. This is what we're going to do. And we want to build around it. And I think that speaks a little bit towards the confidence that I have in what he's going to be able to do. So I don't know. But
I wouldn't be surprised if we hear in the next few days or within the next month or something that the Jets go out and grab a somewhat semi-star of another wide receiver.
Oh, for sure. Are they drafted guy? I don't know where they're drafting. There's really only a couple of receivers that would really.
I was trying to pull up the list to see who's still available right now as far as names are concerned.
Oh, I don't know. There's a ton of wide receivers out there. I may be wrong, but they could go after Tet. I think. I don't know how high they're drafting, but it's not going to be like they're drafting fairly high.
So Keenan Allen still is available. Amari Cooper's available.
Keenan Allen would be interesting.
And that's somebody he's played with before. Fields has.
That's
so.
True.
I mean, there could be maybe not necessarily like super chemistry, but there could be something there. Like I said, Amari Cooper's available. None of the rest of these names or anything. I mean, Tyler Boyd maybe. It's a name that
Tyler Boyd's interesting, but I don't think it's nothing that's gonna.
It's not going to be a big game changer or anything.
So they got the 7th pick. I don't know if they get Tet McMillan at 7. They might, depending on what Travis Hunter, where he goes and all that.
Yeah.
So I mean, we can dive in more of that next week when we start breaking down the draft and these picks. But I think they're definitely going to invest in another receiver. I do believe that. And they may invest in 2. Hell, they may bring in Keenan and then also draft a rookie.
Yeah, and get somebody younger.
If they get Keenan Allen, I'll be pretty stoked about that. I'm going to be honest. As far as I'm definitely not a Jets fan, but I'd be stoked as a Justin Fields
opportunity. I mean,
you
get
somebody who
like
believes
that,
it. Yeah,
that veteran and the guy
Garrett Wilson.
Like
I really want to see Garrett Wilson thrive. I've seen interviews of this guy. I saw him on Hard Knocks. I think at his core, I really like who Garrett Wilson seems to be.
Yeah.
I mean, you obviously don't know these people
exactly.
But the what I've seen of him, I feel like this dude is a legit good dude, a guy who wants to succeed, and I think he's uber talented. And I think Justin Fields is also of that ilk. I just think that Justin Fields probably lacks a little bit of that, as the kids say, that dog in him.
Yeah.
I think he needs a little bit more of that, and I think confidence will breed that. If you create a system that he can believe in, and you give him receivers that he can believe in, and you let him know it's okay to fuck up.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's also part of it. Everywhere he's been, even in Chicago, except for the first year, after the first year, he's been playing to keep his job.
Yeah.
It's like everybody's like, oh, no, they got to replace Justin Fields. Oh, no, we got to bring in Russell to replace Justin Fields. This dude's been walking on eggshells. Yep. And I think the Jets said, no, you're a guy. Go out there, play. I don't care if you throw 30 interceptions. We're riding you this year. Figure it out. And I think that's going to give him a little bit more confidence. So, I mean...
and I think if they get him another like veteran target, somebody that they know fits that offense or can help that offense, he feels like, okay, y'all are doing something for me, and this is what we're gonna do.
Exactly.
It'll help it all out too.
Yeah. Again, I don't think he played with Keenan.
Yeah, that's what I was going to look to see.
No. Keenan only played 1 year in Chicago, and it was last year with Caleb.
I thought he was there for 2 years. He
was the Chargers year before. Yeah, so he never actually played with.
Okay, so yeah, but I mean, even still, like that would be a good talent to come.
Keenan's he is a quarterback's best friend.
Yeah,
we talk about Diggs getting open. All Keenan Allen does is get open.
Yeah, he just stays open.
Yeah, but so there it is. There's the free agent breakdown of the season. Kind of go through stuff and. Get set up for the new season. I'm sure there's going to be more moves, and we'll definitely bring those up as we move along. We got the rookie draft coming up, so we're going to start breaking those guys down. Actually doing some research, because aside from like the big names, we still don't know everybody because we don't watch college football. So we're going to be learning about these guys over the next few days.
We're learning it with you.
Yeah. And give you our opinions on all that for whatever that's fucking worth. So
yeah, if it helps or whatever.
But otherwise, as I say, if there's anything we say or do that helps you get to that average place in your leagues, that means we did our job. Because when you finish average,
you don't finish last.
That's exactly right. And that means we did our job. So you guys be good out there, and we will talk to you next week sometime.
Later.
Holla.